check your hair. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and live. Good luck.
Merhaba arkadaşlar, hepiniz IEFT Talks webinarlarına hoş geldiniz. Bugün İngiltere'nin Öğrencileri, Geleceğe, Hazırlama Odaklı Üniversitesi University of Kent'te eğitimi Emma'dan dinliyor olacağız. Lütfen sorularınızı questions kısmından sormayı unutmayın. Yes, Emma, the stage is yours now.
Perfect. Thank you, Zainab. Thank you. I'm just going to share my screen and then we can make a start. Hopefully this will allow us to do it. So hopefully you can all see that okay and you can hear me okay. Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Emma and I am the International Officer for Turkey here at the University of Kent. And I'm delighted to be able to join you today because I'm going to talk to you very briefly about our university and then I'm going to give you an overview about how we support our students when it comes to employability, career skills, and in particular sort of what skills that you would learn from the courses that you would study with us. So I think in total the presentation will be about sort of 20 to 30 minutes and I'm sure that you probably have lots of questions, so please do feel free to pop them in the chat and we will pick them up at the end of the session. So to start with today, I thought it would be a good place to start to give you a brief introduction about the University of Kent and why I believe it is the perfect university for you. As some key facts just to be aware of, so our university were established in 1965, so we've been going on for a few years now, and our reputation and our focus for our courses is very much on research-led teaching. So for us, teaching is not about repetition and the regurgitation of facts and figures. It's very much about focusing on key aspects that are relevant in today's society and encouraging students to engage, to debate, to question, to disagree or to agree. It is very much kind of an engaging way of teaching and it's very much based on the research that we are doing through all of the different programs that we offer here at Kent. So it is a very kind of engaging way to learn, to experience your studies here at Kent. In terms of our overall ranking, we are ranked in the top 20 for research intensity. So again, another recognition of the research-led excellence in teaching that we offer here at Kent. And it's it's definitely worth noting that many of our courses outperform several Russell Group universities in terms of teaching excellence and relevance. Number of our programs that perform very well tend to be in the business field, psychology, law, architecture, forensic science. So all of these areas are ranked very highly and definitely are worth considering as a course choice for you. Another thing that's definitely worth noting about the University of Kent is that we are very much an international university. We are ranked in the top 10% of the world's universities for international outlook. Of our 18,000 students that we welcome each year, we have around 160 different nationalities represented. So it is very much a multicultural and multinational sort of university we have. And also that's not just represented in the student body, but also our academic staff as well are very international. Nearly 40% of them are from outside of the UK. So again, adds to that kind of multi-international, multicultural experience that you would get from studying here at Kent. So for those of you who are not familiar with where we are, in this very rudimental map of the UK and Europe, you can see that Kent is very unique in terms of we have 4 campuses in total. We have 2 that are the UK campuses and we have 2 in Europe. Our UK campuses are Canterbury and Medway. Both of them are located in the southeast corner of the UK and they are both about an hour's train ride from central London. One of the key things I always like to tell students about is that whilst we are outside of London, you are still in very close proximity to the capital and everything that would offer you. But actually being outside, just outside, is definitely the best of both. So whilst you have easy access to London, living outside means you get to enjoy wide open spaces, lots of greenery, lots of scenic situations for you to explore. but also the living costs tend to be slightly less than you would find in London. So therefore you can sort of, your money will go a bit further being outside of the capital. As I mentioned, we do have 2 campuses in Europe, and these are dedicated postgraduate centres. So in Brussels, we have the Brussels School of International Studies, which is very popular for international students, particularly those from Turkey. Many of the law programs or the international relations or politics programs are delivered at the Brussels campus. So if you are looking at those particular courses, it's definitely worth considering being located in Brussels. The Paris campus offers specialist programs in arts and culture. So again, if you are looking at those particular programs, again, having a look at the Paris campus might be an option for you. One of the unique things about the University of Kent is that we are very much known as the UK's European university, and we really benefit from that. Having those strong links with these European centres really enhances the student experience at all 4 of our campuses we have here at Kent. Just to kind of give you a bird's eye view of our main UK campus, this is where the vast majority of our undergraduate and many postgraduate programs are delivered. And as you will see from the image, it's a very green campus. It's very all-in-one sort of space where everything that you would need to support your studies is available in one site. It's a very green and tranquil open space, but it's very close to Canterbury city centre. So for those of you who know Canterbury, it is a World UNESCO Heritage Site. So it's very much famed for its cathedral, which is the UNESCO World Heritage, and it receives millions of visitors each year. So it's a very kind of small but bustling town, but it's very much sort of student town environment. So you would find lots of facilities to enjoy whilst you are studying. So whether it be all the shops, the sort of tourism, the hospitality, or whether it be a great place to sort of relax and unwind whilst you are studying as well. The Canterbury campus is just a 10-minute bus ride or a 20-minute walk. So it's very close to Canterbury city centre. What you will also find on the Canterbury campus is that there are ample accommodation rooms available. All international students are guaranteed an accommodation on campus if they book early enough. On the Canterbury campus, there are just under 5,500 rooms, and there are over 1,000 rooms on the Medway campus as well. So lots of options when it comes to accommodation. And we always recommend international students consider staying on student accommodation, not just because of the location and ease of access, but it's also very comfortable, very safe and secure, and it's very good value for money as well. So it's definitely worth considering that as an option. As well as enjoying access to all of the accommodation, academic facilities, the campus also offers a lot of other ways that it supports your studies through first-class facilities such as our newly extended and refurbished library. We also have lots of first-class or technology labs, studios, sessions that people can enjoy as part of their course, as well as lots of kind of other ways in which you can relax through the sports centre, the theatre, the cinema. So everything that you would need is on one campus space. And so what can you actually study here at Kent? Well, the short answer is many, many programs. So we have over 400 programs at undergraduate, postgraduate taught and postgraduate research. I'm sure you're very relieved to hear I'm not going to go through every individual one, or we'll be here for the foreseeable future, but that we do offer a wide range of programs, which I think are on the next slide, which I will talk to you through. It's definitely worth noting that many of the programs offer added benefits, such as a year abroad or a year in industry. This is available for many undergraduate programs, but also many postgraduate programs. So if it is something you are looking to do, then it's definitely worth kind of finding the program that has those added extras as part of the course itself. It's also, we as well as offering kind of degree programs, we also have a number of foundation year programs for those who need to take a year's foundation course to get entry onto the undergraduate program. That is something you can do at Kent. Whilst many of our courses, undergraduate and postgraduate programs, all start in September, we do offer a small number of postgraduate programs that start in January. particularly those that are delivered at our European campuses. So those in the law, in international relations, many of the arts programs do offer 2 intake periods. So if you are looking for a course starting in January, then perhaps looking at the international relations programs or the law programs might be worth considering. We do have one business program that offers a January start, and that's the MSc in project management. So again, there is that little bit of flexibility. With PhD programs, they do offer multiple intakes as well. So many of them will offer sort of September, January, and sometimes even a March, April start. So again, there's a lot more to choose from in terms of start dates. So this slide gives you an idea about the types of courses that we have here at Kent. And I'm sure you would agree, they're quite varied in terms of subject areas. For Turkish students, the most popular ones, and I'm sure it won't come as any surprise to you watching, tend to be either in the business area, where you can focus on things such as management, accounting and finance, entrepreneurship. There's also leadership courses. There is also programs such as human resource management or healthcare management or business analytics, which is a very much a popular program in these times today. So this is available through the Kent Business School. Another area which is very popular for Turkish students tends to be in the law and society field. So all of the law programs, particularly at master's level, you can specialize in particular areas. So they have the LLM programs, but then you have specialisms that look at things such as human rights law, commercial law, international corporate law. So all of different sort of areas of specialisms that you can focus on when you are doing your postgraduate masters. Another area which, again, continues to be very popular for Turkish students is in human and social sciences. So areas such as politics, international relations, but also psychology as well. So these offer a wide variety of courses at both undergraduate and postgraduate level. So please do have a look on our website to go, because it gives you more information about the individual courses and the main eligibility criteria. So one thing I do want to sort of focus on now is to give you an idea about one of the main priorities we have here at Kent is about employability. And what you will find is that all of the programs that I've just mentioned, both the undergraduate and postgraduate, really focus on employability and enhancing students' experience to give them the best chance when it comes to career progression and career prospects. And one of our mantras is very much focused on giving students the platform they need to succeed, whatever their future plans may be. So it is very much supporting students when it comes to academics, but also career progression as well. And I always find it useful to sort of give you a brief sort of introduction to what do we mean by employability. I mean, it sounds a very silly question, but it's useful to kind of know exactly what we're talking about. Employability is referring to the skills and experiences that all employers look for when they are hiring new staff. This could be anything from not just academic knowledge, but also hard skills and soft skills, so things such as teamwork, leadership, communication, all of these things that they expect their individuals who they're employing to have the best that they can be in those particular areas. And the aim as a student, when you are studying here at Kent, is very much to make yourself as employable as you can. So it's about giving yourself the best chance when it comes to looking for your jobs after you finished your studies. One thing that Kent does really well is that we offer a wide range of employability services and able to help students to develop this area of themselves to give them the best possible chance when it comes to beginning their careers after their studies have concluded. And how do we do this exactly? Well, we do this through a number of different ways. The first thing is we have a dedicated careers and employability service who are a fantastic team available here at Kent. And they offer guidance and support to both current students, but also recently graduated students as well. So your access to this support network doesn't stop as soon as your degree is finished. You still be able to access their service and support afterwards whilst you are looking for a job. They do a number of different sort of initiatives throughout the year. They look at things such as key employability skills, as I mentioned. So they do a number of workshops that focus on things such as how to write an effective CV, how to brush up on your interview skills, how to make yourself, how to sell yourself in terms of an introductory letter that you send to employers. So all of these kind of key skills are available to students who can take their services, you know, any time whilst they are studying here at Kent. They also do job shops whereby students can go in and search through, see what employers' vacancies are available and apply through them through the job shop services. They also have a great scheme called the Employability Points Scheme, which is basically students sign up to do a number of events throughout the year that, you know, that they are actively involved in a number of different initiatives. And the more events they join, the more points they get. And at the end of the year, those with the highest number of points have the opportunity to apply for exclusive internships or placement opportunities. So not only it gives you a chance to kind of build up your skills throughout the year, but it also gives you the opportunity to apply for jobs or internships once you have finished that particular academic year. One thing they do as well throughout the year is do career fairs and festivals whereby potential employers come onto campus and meet with students and talk to them about what it's like to work in particular industries. And we have got a short video which was taken a couple of years ago at a fair before the pandemic. So it gives you an idea about what career services are available here at Kent. Can we play the first video, please?
Yes.
That you end up in the right career for you. We have all kinds of activities and events through the year, like this fantastic careers fair where we have over 100 employers coming to meet you.
Delighted to say that I'm having a wonderful time at the University of Kent where we're hosting our careers fair. And certainly what the careers service attempts to do is enable students to gain skills, qualities, attributes supported by their academic schools and courses, but also to do things outside of their course.
We come to the Kent Employability Fair because we employ about 6 IP students a year to work in our web team.
So we're here today from Enterprise Rent a Car. We're looking to hire students from the University of Kent. This year we had 25. We're looking to double that number to 50 next year.
We're Burgess Hodgson, we're based in Canterbury. We value Kent students, they come out very well rounded.
I think it's really great at Kent that we celebrate all aspects of your co-curricular experience. So whether you're volunteering as part of a sports club or society or getting employment alongside of your degree, you can all use those skills to translate that into a job after you graduate.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. Hopefully that gives you an idea about our career fairs and what sort of facilities we have available to support students. It's definitely worth noting that that career fair was obviously took place, as I said, before the pandemic started. But this year and actually last year, what we did a number of activities that were both virtual, but also this year we're doing sort of hybrid events as well. Obviously in light of sort of we're coming out of the pandemic, and then for September next year, where we're very hopeful that we would be back to pre-pandemic situation, that we would be able to have the same type of fair that's done face-to-face. Everything is face-to-face on campus, but there will be opportunities, particularly there's a lot of online services that we have been doing over the last 18 months to again support students during this time. That video. Okay, oh, there we go. And what I also want to talk about briefly is placement and work experience opportunities. So I'm sure many of you are familiar with what this means, because I know many UK universities do offer experience opportunities for the students, both at undergraduate or postgraduate, for students to actually get practical work experience whilst they are studying. So here at Kent, our placement opportunities do vary in length. They can take between 3 months to 1 year. The length of your placement will rest entirely on the student to decide. So it is very open to you to determine how long you want to do your placement for. For many of our courses, particularly at undergraduate level, what you will find is that many of them do have a placement as part of the course. So what often this means is that the placement will be sandwiched in the middle of the course, often between the 2nd and 3rd year. So what it means is you would take a break from your studies, go and work in your placement for the year, and then return back after that to complete the rest of your course. So it's kind of inbuilt into the course itself. Often you would have assignments that are related to the placement. So often they would be credit bearing, and you might find that you would have to do a report or an assessment of your placement afterwards as well. So just to kind of bear that in mind if you do decide to select a program that has a year in industry option. For the postgraduate programs, I know many of the business programs, I know some of the computer related programs as well, and often some of the international relations programs, they may offer placement years. And what that means is that would happen after the degree program has finished. What you will find is for the postgraduate courses, the placement years tend to be optional. So it is something that it's not mandatory required as part of the course, but as a student, you have the option to decide if you want to do the placement or not. And it's definitely advisable to do that because, as I said, it's a great way to get some work experience whilst you are working. The actual placements itself are very competitive. So it gives you a bit of an insight into what it means to actually apply for jobs. So you would have to go through the application process. There might be sort of interviews that you would need to take for your potential placement employers. Often they are salaried as well, so you'll be earning a wage whilst you are working, which we know is very important. And often they are very closely linked to the course of study as well. So what you are advised to do is to get a placement that is relevant to the program that you are studying. As well as the placement years, we do also have a number of short-term internships that students can go for. Often these take place during vacation periods, so during sort of the summer break, many students would do internships. Again, they can be related to the course. Sometimes they might be salaried, sometimes they might not be, depends on the internship and the employer that you're working with. Many of these are organised through the Careers Advisory Service, so definitely keep an eye out for that if that's something that interests you. For us, when it comes to placements and internships, it's really important to kind of to highlight the benefits of doing that as part of your degree. We know that when you do decide to study abroad, whether that be at undergraduate or postgraduate, it's not just about gaining academic knowledge, but it's also gaining the full student experience. And actually doing a placement or an internship will enable you to get invaluable work experience. It helps to your academic knowledge because you have real life first-hand experience in the area that you are studying. It gives you perspective and first-hand insight into career choices. So it gives you real exposure to the industries that you want to work in after your studies. Again, it gives you that kind of real practical work experience and access to vocational skills, which again helps you to develop and enhance. And again, leads to that employability. It makes you more employable because you have experience under your belt. It gives you exposure and access to professional and personal networks. So it gets your name out there and you get to meet people who are working in the industry that you're interested in. And as I said, it's great for your CV. So it definitely gives you a competitive edge when it comes to securing your future roles. You would have first-hand experience about what it's like to actually apply for placements or internships, which helps when it comes to your careers afterwards. And the most important thing that I always find that it gives you a lot of confidence and improves many of the vital work skills that you need to develop your employability. So it enhances not just your confidence, but also your communication, team working, problem solving, all of these things that we know that potential employers are looking for when it comes to recruitment. This slide here is a really good idea to give you sort of insight in terms of not just the courses that offer placements, but also the types of organizations that previous students have worked in. And as you will see, they're very varied in terms of organizations and the sectors, from anything from sort of pharmaceuticals to airlines to sort of hospitality to sort of local governance or arts and culture. So it's very varied. It's not just based in Kent. So as you will see, sort of there are many sort of organizations based in central London as well that students have worked in. So there's a lot of variety when it comes to placement options. The key sort of message for me when it comes to the year in industry, it is very much student-led. So it relies on you being proactive and going out and finding your placement. So there is that onus will definitely be on you to go and approach potential employers to find out if that's something they can sort of help you with. You would have the support and guidance from the advisory service, but the onus will be on you to do all of the work. So it is a really important part of the sort of the placement process, and it does take a lot of time as well. Our next video is going to give you a quick insight from a student who's recently done a placement year. So it gives you sort of first-hand kind of, we get to hear from a student and what they enjoyed about that particular process. If we could play the second video, please.
So I did my placement at in the Public Protection Intelligence Department, and I was responsible for a big operation to do with crime and certain areas and what I learned was that I can be an expert, but others will rely on using, obviously, statistics. So that was really advantageous to know that there's worth in doing statistics, and it brings value to local government, for example. So whilst at my placement, I had to use all my acquired skills to design a data set, because companies outside of statistics do not really know how we do all of the things that we do and how we run tests. So I had to transfer a load of data that was qualitative from Excel into a data set and then run a load of tests like frequencies, crosstabs and so on to really write a 40-page detailed report on what the findings were. And then I used all of that unique data to write my dissertation to hopefully add value to the academical field, which is criminal behaviours.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully that gives you a bit of insight into the experience that students have. And I'm sure you would have heard that it's not just about kind of actual work experience, it's about getting to enhance and develop their key skills, which will be so important when it comes to their future careers. Let's go to the next slide. Play that one. Here we go. I also want to briefly talk to you about some of the other opportunities you have available here at the University of Kent. So we have a lot of co-curricular and extracurricular activities that students can get involved with. So whether it be things such as looking at, again, core skills, but also looking at things that that are outside of your normal kind of academic sort of cycle, outside your academic subject. There are ways in which you can get experience of other different sort of academic areas. We have the Study Plus program that focuses on things such as arts and languages and culture. So there's a good way that you can kind of develop your language skills, for example. The Kent's Q-Step Centre, if I get that right, is very much focused on analytical skills and quantitative skills. So if you want to sort of develop your analytical skills, and then perhaps looking at this options available through the centre is definitely worth having a look at. We do a number of study abroad and summer schools that many students are involved with. Volunteering plays such a massive part here at Kent, and many students do volunteer for different organisations during their time studying with us. It's not only a great way to help others, but also it develops other key skills such as leadership and team working, which is so vital when it comes to sort of future careers. And likewise, a reminder, obviously, with your student's visa, you can work during your studies as well. So that's not only a great way to supplement your income, but again, it's another good way to kind of get some work experience whilst you are studying. So there are lots of ways in which you can develop your key skills as well as your academic knowledge. Whilst you are studying here at Kent, it's not just about kind of developing your skills in these particular areas. It is very much kind of getting a lot of support and guidance from the university and the areas of expertise and the different teams we have here at Kent. And all of these facilities would be available to you, whether you're undergraduate or postgraduate. We have a really great student learning advisory service that provides a lot of support to students whilst they are studying. They do things such as maths and stats clinics. They do academic writing, which I know particularly for international students who might be less familiar with the UK academic system. Doing the academic writing course is a really good way to kind of brush up on your writing skills and preparing you for many of the assignments that you would be required to do as part of your course. They also have a range of learning resources that you can call upon at any time during your studies. Every student would have sort of a personal academic support system. So whether that be from your academic advisor, who's available to give you one-to-one guidance support for the duration of your course. But you'd also have things such as progression, monitoring and reporting facilities as well. So you would have somebody on hand to support you through every stage of your studies, as well as kind of all of the learning facilities on campus, such as the library. We do have a lot of e-learning tools as well, which will be available to all students. Another thing that we do in terms of in-course training very much focuses on transferable skills. I know I've mentioned this many times during the presentation so far, and the reason is because it is something that all of our courses really focus on. So whether it be through the group assignments or whether it be through the presentation assignments that you might be required to do, all of them develop these key transferable skills that are essential regardless of what career that you want to go in afterwards. It's also worth noting that many of our programs do offer kind of industry networking opportunities. So, for example, many of the business programs offer initiatives such as Pitch It, whereby employers or industry leaders come in from different sort of sectors, and then students would have to pitch an idea to them. So it gives you that kind of experience and exposure to communication, negotiation, presentational skills, but also to get feedback as well, which is so important when it comes to career development. If you are studying the law programs, then you would have access to the Kent Law Clinic, which is whereby students who are studying law would have access to real life cases, and you would be able to contribute towards that. So again, it's a really great way to get sort of real life practical experience whilst you are studying. And the final thing on the courses, it's definitely worth noting that many of our programs are accredited. And that they do come with sort of industry recognition or a sort of stamp seal of approval on the relevance and the excellence that these particular courses offer to the students. So, for example, I know our MBA program is accredited by the Association of MBAs. Many of our psychology programs are accredited by the British Psychological Society. So again, it's a recognition of the strength of the courses and the relevance it has to those particular sectors. And I want to finish today's session to sort of bring it full loop. Obviously, you're studying here at Kent and you're developing your employability skills and giving you all the necessary guidance support to be able to do that. But what does it mean in terms of your careers? Like, how does studying at Kent really enhance your career prospects? For us, it's very much about giving you a successful future. And we are dedicated to giving our students that platform to be able to embark on their career and to do it successfully. In a survey that we did, over 95% of our students graduated and were in a working paid position within 6 months of completion. So it's a very high record that we have. And we do that, as you would have seen, through all of the initiatives that we've discussed so far. It is very much kind of, we support you when you are studying, but as I mentioned right at the beginning, it's not just about when you are studying. We also provide you that support once you have finished as well. So you would have guidance on support when it comes to things like job hunting, where you can search for vacancies, and you can meet with our career planners who can help you to identify potential employers who you want to reach out to. So there are lots of ways that you can get that help and guidance support when it comes to finding your job afterwards. And also just a reminder as well that I'm sure most of you are familiar with this already, but studying and successfully completing your degree here in the UK will mean that you can apply for the graduate immigration route. So basically means that you can stay for 2 years, which is the post-study work visa. It allows you to stay in the UK for that period for work purposes. You would need to apply to switch once you have completed the degree program. So it's not an automatic process, but it is a really great way to get work experience in the UK immediately after your studies. So it's definitely worth having a look at and considering. There's lots of information on the UKISA website, which is an organisation specifically for international students who study here in the UK. There's lots of information about sort of how to apply for the graduate route available on there, so definitely worth checking that out. And finally, I'd like to kind of finish off with a video from some of our students to kind of explain to you what it means to study here at Kent and why you should pick us as your university. If we could play the final video, please.
The biggest ideas can come from far and
from people who haven't even discovered their path yet.
When the whole world is changing, if you can come with ambition and an open mind, then anything is possible.
Even discovered their path yet.
When the whole world is changing, if you can come with ambition and an open mind, then anything is possible.
It's an opportunity to make connections and friendships that last a lifetime.
An opportunity to create a legacy.
Success isn't always measured by gains, but by impact.
How impactful can you be?
I know what kind of world I want to live in, and it's not just going to happen.
We have to build our future.
Step out of your comfort zone.
And look forward to a better tomorrow.
This is our time.
Fantastic. I think our final slide, or my final slide, I should say, is if you do have any questions after today, would like to know more about studying here at Kent, then please do feel free to reach out to me. And that's my email address on the screen. There's lots of information on our website about all of the courses, about which programs start in January, about our scholarships, and also, more importantly, about the employability prospects that you have if you do decide to study here at Kent. So please do have a look at that after today. Thank you very much for listening, and I'm sure that we have lots of questions. So I'm just going to stop sharing my slides. And let's go back to, here we go. Perfect. So I'm sure there's probably lots of questions in the tab. So just bear with me while I go through them. If I start at the bottom, so let's give this a start. Okay, so the first question is about the graduation percentage, about sort of how many people sort of successfully complete their courses. Unfortunately, I don't have the specifics to hand, but what I do know is that we do have a very high completion rate, and the vast majority of students who study with us, whether it be at undergraduate or postgraduate level, do successfully complete their course. And as I mentioned in the presentation, you would have seen that they do go on to get jobs after they finished as well. So it is something that we are particularly proud of. And we do support our students when it comes to their studies as well. So you would have lots of guidance support when you are completing the course too. So Fazia was asked about, do we have a master's program that include internships? So for our master's programs, we do have programs that offer sort of that placement year or the year in industry. There aren't any that actually have internships as part of the course, but that's not to say there wouldn't be internship opportunities available. So as I mentioned during the presentation, many students do get internship opportunities, that short-term roles, particularly during kind of the summer break, where you would have sort of, 6 to 8 weeks or so where you would be able to enjoy an internship role. So it is something that you would be able to look in and explore, but it wouldn't be automatically part of the course itself. So similar along with internships, the next question is about the partner companies. So as you would have seen on the slide, so we do work with a large variety of organizations here in the UK, varying from sort of multinational companies to local governance or local charities. And many of these organizations do accept placements or internships from the University of Kent each year. So I know in particular, sort of the Kent Business School, for example, has lots of good relationships with local governance, with international organizations. And again, sort of the School of Computing work very closely with Google, with Microsoft, IBM, etc. So many of the students who do the courses and go a placement year will often find placement roles within those organizations. So it's definitely worth considering as when you are selecting your courses to study. So the next question is about what's the most popular majors among international students. That's a very good question. And I think particularly for Turkish students, generally the most popular courses tend to be in the business area. So programs that look at things such as management, marketing, business analytics is extremely popular at the moment. I know it's very much an up and coming area. So if that is something that's interests you, definitely worth looking at that. Also for Turkish students, they do a lot focus on sort of international relations and sort of the international politics programs such as international development, migration, conflict analysis. All of these kind of core areas, which are very much kind of focused on the international issues, are extremely popular for Turkish students. So definitely worth having a look at them too. And the first year of medical student, can I do an internship or can I tend to do a pre-research program? So as for medical students, what we do have is a 5-year medical program we have here at Kent. And often with the medical program, the first 2 years are spent very much kind of academically learning the background and knowledge to the specific course subject areas. From the 3rd year, they tend to get more practical and there tends to be a lot of clinical side to it. So through your studies in the from the 3rd to the 4th and the 5th year, there would be sort of elements where you can get involved with clinical work, but you can also get involved with research programs as well, depending on what subject you're looking for. For many students, particularly if it is a research program you're looking for, what you might find is that tends to be very much focused on the PhD students. So they will have access to sort of the research programs and work with the various professors, particularly when it comes to like research associates or, research assistants. Often they would go to the PhD students who are studying here at Kent. Okay, so next question, do you have opportunities of PhD, tuition salaries? Okay, so I know there are a couple of questions about PhDs. So we do have a number of PhD programs here at Kent. They tend to be very specific in terms of subject areas. And so I would definitely recommend having a look on our website to seeing the different kind of research options available. When you are applying for a PhD program, the application process itself is slightly different to the bachelor's or the master's courses, in that before you can actually complete your application, what you have to do is find a supervisor. And what that means is that you have to connect with one of the supervisors here at Kent and get their agreement to work with you on your research proposal. So you have to have a research topic in mind and you have to identify a supervisor here at Kent who can work with you on that area. Once you have secured your supervisor, you can then go through the application process and complete the online application form, provide all of the documents you have up to that point. One thing we do get asked quite a lot about is entry requirements for PhDs, in particular those who don't have master's degrees, and can you do PhDs? For the vast majority of our programs, a master's is often required. However, it's not an absolute requirement. So if you don't have a master's degree, but you have a background in research, so whether you've done sort of worked on research projects, whether you've had jobs that involved a lot of research and preparing research papers, that might be a suitable kind of alternative to actually having a master's degree. But it is something you would need to discuss with the supervisor when you do reach out to them. So there is a sort of a different sort of application process that you would need to follow. In terms of sort of the tuition fees, and I know scholarships were asked about as well for PhDs. We do have some PhD scholarships, but they tend to be tuition fee contributions. If you are looking for a fully funded PhD scholarship, your best bet is to look to external organizations. So I know the British Council, for example, do offer a number of scholarships for international students. There are organizations here in the UK that offer scholarships. So organizations such as the Wellcome Trust or the Research Council, for example, they do offer a large number of scholarships for PhD students. So you just need to do a little bit of research, go online, do a bit of sort of investigation in terms of what organizations offer fully funded scholarships for PhDs. The next question is about language. So for international students, there is a language requirement that you would need to meet. For most of our programs, you would require a certain level of language proficiency. So for IELTS, it would usually be a 6.5 overall with at least 6 in the reading and the writing bands. We do accept other test providers such as TOEFL, Pearson, or Duolingo. So it's definitely worth having a look on our website because it gives you a full breakdown. There are some courses that ask for a higher language proficiency. So for example, the linguistics program, just as an example, requires a 7 overall in IELTS. So on the English language pages, you will find a full list of the breakdown of the individual marks you would need to achieve for specific subjects. The key thing on the English language is you don't need to have taken a test before you apply to the University of Kent. So you can apply now and then take your test at a later date. Okay, so the next question is about visas and whether you have to have a work permit whilst you are studying. So one of the really good things about studying here in the UK is that your student study visa will allow you to work up to 20 hours per week on a part-time basis. So this means you can work whilst you are studying, and many students do that as a way of getting sort of work experience, but also supplementing their income as well. So that is an option that you can do whilst you're studying. Once you have graduated, if you do want to stay in the UK, then you would need to apply to the graduate route, which would then give you permission to stay for that 2-year period. So there would be a separate application visa that you would need to make once you have successfully completed the course. We've spoken about PhDs, housing options. So first-year students. So as I mentioned very briefly in the slides, we do have lots of accommodation options available. We have about 5,500 rooms on our Canterbury campus and about 1,000 rooms on our Medway campus. So we have lots of student accommodation available on the campus, both UK campuses. And for international students, we do recommend that you consider staying on student accommodation. If you are studying a master's or PhD, then it is advisable to spend the year on student accommodation. For undergraduate students, it's definitely recommended to stay at least the first year on campus because it gives you a chance to become sort of acclimatized to studying here in the UK, helps you get familiar with your surroundings. And often what you would find is in the second, third year, often students would tend to group together and go and stay off campus in a student sort of house or student sort of flat. So often many students would live off campus for the second, third year, but it's a personal choice, really. It's entirely up to you as an individual what you want to do. If you want to stay on campus for the duration, then you can certainly apply to do so. Okay, so the next question that's recently come in is about IELTS results. So as I mentioned, you don't need to have taken an IELTS before you apply to the university. So you can apply without an IELTS test. But if you are offered a place, it's likely to be conditional on your English language. So in order to finalize your place and secure your place and make it unconditional, you would need to provide a valid IELTS or another English language test provider certificate. It's worth noting that the IELTS certificates are valid for 2 years. So if you do take one, then you have, a long time for its validity. So if you're not able to use it right away, you still have 2 years worth of usage out of that exam itself. So I think I've managed to answer all of the questions. Let me just do a quick scan. I think so. Yes, I think that's everything. If anybody has any other questions, please do feel free to pop them in the questions box. What I will do is I will leave in the chat my email address. So as I said, after today, please do feel free to reach out if you do have any questions about our courses, about what it's like to study here at Kent, and in particular about the employability and how we as a university supports its students when it comes to career development. Then please do reach out to me. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you might have. I know we have another webinar coming up in November, and that will focus on applications, and we're going to talk to you about what makes the perfect application for Kent. So we'll go into detail about the application process. We'll give you more information about personal statements and what you need to provide in terms of documentation. So if you do have questions about the application process, and please do register for that webinar, which is coming up in November.
Yes, thank you very much for your great presentation, Emma. It was another great session with you.
No worries at all. Thank you very much, everybody, for attending today. And thank you, Zeynep, and to the IEFT for arranging it. It's been great.
Yes, thank you also for your answers, because you covered all of the questions. And lastly, I would like to thank the participants in Turkish as well. Katıldığınız için teşekkür ederiz arkadaşlar. University of Kent ile ilgili diğer sorularınız için chat kısmında paylaşılmış olan mail adresinden Emma'ya ulaşabilirsiniz. Umarım sizin için de faydalı bir webinar olmuştur. Yarınki webinarlarımızda görüşmek üzere. Thank you very much again, Emma. It was a pleasure to have you in IEFT Talks.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Stay safe and hope to see you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.